Alvin Cullum York lived a life of simplicity and faith in the serene hills of Pall Mall, Tennessee. Born to a humble family on December 13, 1887, York's days were filled with hard work on the family farm. Known throughout his community for his hunting skills, York was a crack shot, and it was a skill that would one day propel him into the annals of military history. As the United States entered the Great War in 1917, York found himself at a crossroads. His faith, which taught him to value peace and the sanctity of life, clashed with his sense of duty to his country. Struggling with this moral dilemma, York initially registered as a conscientious objector. The Department of Defense, or the DoD for short, defines a conscientious objection as opposition to participating in any form of war or the bearing of arms due to sincerely held moral, ethical, or religious beliefs, or a combination of such beliefs. Yet, after much reflection and counsel from his pastor and commanding officers, he decided to serve. On June 5, 1917, 29-year-old Alvin York registered for the draft, as required by the Selective Service Act. The act, which laid the foundation for the modern U.S. draft, was enacted during World War I in 1917. As the U.S. prepared to enter the war, the military realized it lacked sufficient manpower to fight in Europe. President Woodrow Wilson signed the act, requiring all men aged 21 to 30 to register for military service. Unlike previous drafts, there was no option to hire a substitute, ensuring that wealthier citizens could not evade service. The system was designed to be fairer, with local draft boards established to select men based on need and community status. Over 2.8 million men were drafted during the war, helping to bolster the U.S. forces and play a crucial role in the eventual victory. As Alvin York filled out his required paperwork in the spot where it said, "Do you claim exemption from the draft?" York wrote simply, "Yes, I don't want to fight." York applied for conscientious objector status, but his initial request was denied, and so he filed an appeal. At that time, conscientious objectors were not automatically exempt from military service. They could still be drafted and were often assigned roles that aligned with their pacifist beliefs. While his case was under review, York was drafted in November 1917 and began his military training at Camp Gordon in Georgia as a member of the 82nd Division. From his first day in the service until he returned home from the war on May 29, 1919, Alvin kept a diary where he detailed many of his experiences. In it, he noted that he had refused to sign documents from his pastor, which sought his discharge on religious grounds, as well as papers from his mother, which claimed an exemption as the sole provider for his family. Even though he initially applied for exemption, York later distanced himself from the idea of being a conscientious objector. Despite his early hesitation, he quickly distinguished himself as a remarkable soldier. His superiors were impressed by his sharp marksmanship and natural leadership skills honed by years of hunting in the rugged backwoods. York was adept at navigating through tough terrain and staying composed in high-pressure situations. The defining moment of York's life came on October 8, 1918, during the Argon offensive in the heavily wooded and dense Argon forest of France. Leading a small patrol of 17 men, York and his team were tasked with taking out a German machine gun nest that had been wreaking havoc on Allied forces. The patrol soon found themselves behind enemy lines and facing a barrage of deadly machine gun fire. With his comrades pinned down and their lives hanging precariously close to the brink, York took matters into his own hands and sprang into action. Charging up the hill with a rifle and a pistol, he used his hunting skills to neutralize the German machine gun nests systematically. His extraordinary marksmanship and calm demeanor under fire allowed him to take out enemy soldiers one by one. At one point, a group of German soldiers charged him with bayonets. York was surrounded and outnumbered, but with steely resolve and remarkable composure, he drew his pistol and dispatched them all before they could reach him. In an extraordinary display of bravery and precision, York reportedly killed 25 German soldiers and captured 132 others almost single-handedly. His actions not only saved his platoon, but also significantly contributed to the success of the Allied forces in the Argon offensive, marking a turning point in the war. His bravery and tactical acumen during the battle earned him the Medal of Honor, as well as the Distinguished Service Cross, the French Croix de Guerre, and the Italian Croce al Merito di Guerra. After Armistice Day, a group of Tennessee businessmen purchased a farm for York, his new wife, and their growing family. He decided to use his celebrity status to advocate for education and social causes. He founded the Alvin York Institute, a school aimed at providing quality education to rural children in Tennessee. In the 1930s and 1940s, York worked as a project superintendent for the Civilian Conservation Corps and managed the construction of the Bird Lake Reservoir at Cumberland Mountain State Park, after which he served for several years as the park superintendent. In 1941, a film called Sergeant York was made about his experiences in the Great War. It was that year's highest-grossing film and starred Gary Cooper, who won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of York. The film was credited with enhancing American morale as the US mobilized for action into yet another global conflict, World War II. Throughout his life, Alvin York remained a devout Christian, often speaking about how his faith guided his actions during the war. He rarely sought the spotlight, preferring to focus on his work and his family. York's humility and dedication to his principles earned him the respect and admiration of people all across the United States. Sergeant Alvin York's story reminds us of the profound impact one person's actions can have on the course of history. His bravery during World War I not only earned him the highest military honors, but also set an example of selfless service and moral integrity. His story is a powerful reminder that true heroism is rooted in faith, courage, and an unwavering commitment to doing what is right. Thank you for listening to Boots on the Hill. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up button and ring the bell for notifications of new episodes.